Wonderful. Thank you. Thank you. Oh, well, good morning, everyone. Great to see everyone in the chamber this morning for our Service Delivery Committee meeting on the 20th of February. And I'd just like to invite Hinerangi, if you could please lead us in a karakia.
Morena kia tātou. Ko te pū, te more te weu te akaterea. Ko te wānui te kune te whete kore te pō. Ki ngā tangata Māori nā rangi, nā papa. Ko tēnei te timatanga o te ao. Tihei Moriora.
Thank you. Okay, so our first item is apologies, and I think everyone's here, so there's no apologies. And then we have disclosure of members' interests. Are there, oh, right, Lou?
Yeah, well, I'm actually involved with tab 11, Sanzac Day Te Amuru. I'm the actual organiser, so I'm going to be honest with that.
Okay, all right, so we'll make a note of that. No other interests? All right, thank you. Any late items? No late items. Could we confirm the order of the meeting then, please? Kind of mover, thank you. Marcus and Andrew as a seconder. All in favour, please say aye.
Aye.
Thanks, carried. Thank you. And now we have confirmation of the open minutes of our last meeting on the 5th of December. So those items, that has been pre-circulated. So do I have a mover and a seconder that they're true and correct? Thank you, Lou, and thank you, Bruce. All in favour, please say aye.
Aye.
Against, carried. Thank you. And now we have our first business item, which is the transportation activity report. That's on page 19. And welcome Brian Hudson to our meeting. Over to you, Brian.
Thank you very much, Madam Chair. And thank you for the welcome this morning. Just before I started, I just wanted to acknowledge, so in the room, Paul Strange is with us this morning. Some of you will know he's been the asset team leader in my team for the last 17 years at council, but he has recently resigned to take up the role of roading manager at Otahuanga District Council, which he starts in tomorrow. But I just wanted to take the opportunity to acknowledge all the work that he's done, and he's contributed to so many of the projects and the achievements that we have made as a council in the roading and transport sphere over the last 17 years. So thank you, Paul.
Yeah. Will there be a chance for Paul to come up to the table as well for the other members to make any comments or wish him well and things like that? I don't know if now's the right time.
So in your hands, Madam Chair, if you.
I'll try and remember to do it at the end of the item then. Yeah, thank you.
Thank you. Yes, so Madam Chair, I'll take my report as read. There's a couple of items I'd just like to touch on in the reading of it. So obviously with the CCTV system, we have over the last 3 months got quite a few more cameras operational, Tirau Road in Kiki and in Leamington. And we are working now on the next batch of automatic number plate recognition cameras that go around the fringes of our towns. So both in Haupo, Nahinapuri, and entry points to Cambridge as well. So some will be aware there was an article in the local newspaper about a robbery in Duke Street. And a request for additional cameras there in that newspaper article. So, but before that time, we had not had any requests from retailers in that area or police or community services or ComSafe about that end of Duke Street for cameras. But we'll certainly, I guess, in time, you know, take advice from police and others whether there's a need there.
Okay, thank you. Liz has a question, and then Phil.
Yeah, look, thanks, Brian, for that. Look, I've been following the CCTV cameras, you know, and I've been quite interested in this for some time. And I think it's really important for us to understand that installing cameras throughout our district, it's not really core business for council, but we've seen a need, we've reacted to the need, and it probably has taken a little longer than the community might have expected, but to organise funding and be able to ensure that we've got the right cameras in the right spaces is, you know, it's a lengthy process with a lot of different groups to consult with. So, you know, I have just had some feedback recently that people are really happy with the cameras and the council's been, you know, excellent to work with. But I just want to kind of also remind everyone that this hasn't been core business for council in the past. Should it be? That's probably I'll be really keen to understand, you know, as elected members, how much we feel that how important this is to our district, and perhaps hear from our members of the community as well, because it's it's kind of an interesting space. We can't just ad hocly keep adding. I feel like a strategy around this just might be a better way to perhaps move forward. There's a very good group of people, community members, and as I said, police and emergency services are part of that as well. So ensuring that we continue to meet with them, I think, is really important.
Thank you, Liz. Phil, do you still have a question? And then Lou.
Yeah, thank you. Thanks, Brian. Just really briefly, is the cameras in the shopping area of Shakespeare been completed too? They've been done, haven't they?
They have.
Because there was that robbery at the BP at the day, and it's the same offenders that did challenge petrol station.
Right.
Okay. On Duke Street that you're talking about.
Yeah. So police certainly tell us that they use our cameras for investigating crimes. That they don't go into details of how they do that, but in conversations I've had with them, they say they definitely use the system and it helps them. And they use obviously a lot of other private cameras, which are often surveilling public spaces as well. So it's a combined effort.
Thanks, Brian. Now, Lou.
I tend to agree through you, Madam Chair, with the Deputy Mayor. I honestly feel that we as a council have been loaded with this. This is more a system for the Justice Department or for the police, and we become inadvertently a part of funding and operating this. Having been involved with the Ram Raids Committee, and during that period of time, a lot of local retailers were completely, worried about having their shops ram raided and people coming and taking things. And I really feel that this is something that perhaps has to be emphasised, go back to central government and say that it should be reallocated back to the actual Justice Department for operational costs, because they are the ones that benefit. Whereas we as council or community, we do not actually benefit as much from this. And without these cameras, a lot of the law enforcement that goes on in our community at the moment wouldn't be effective.
Thanks, Madam Chair. I'll just proceed on with the report. Just in the waste management and minimisation sphere. So we had a new intern started yesterday with us. Her name is Charlotte, a university student at Waikato. And this intern scheme is region-wide with a number of councils employing interns, and they work 10 hours a week during term time and 30 hours a week in holiday periods, and they get, I guess, real world experience in waste reduction. So they're given projects to deliver and can put their university training to use in that. So we're pleased to have Charlotte join our team.
Thanks, Brian. I've got a question from Roger.
Yes, Brian. Thank you, Madam Chair. Can I pop back to the prior sections of the report? I should have asked a question before you moved on. But the fact that our midnight team went out and made changes to the speed humps in Hamilton Road was very much appreciated, I think, by businesses. But it does beg a question, and it's to do with the utilisation of traffic calming measures like that on a main arterial road, which is, Hamilton Road is one of our possibly 3 major roads. And yet in that space, outside Kelly Road and that convenience shopping centre, we've actually got 3 traffic calming devices in a space of about 400 metres. I think that personally, that's a bit of an overkill. That pedestrians have to take responsibility of crossing at safe places. But is it our intention to introduce those similar kind of traffic calming measures on other parts of our arterial roading network?
Right. Well, there certainly are some specific reasons for those particular ones. I guess our arterial roads, we're working at Ahaupo at the moment with the State Highway Authority, and we're building a speed table road safety platform there in Ahaupo with the traffic signals. So it's really around the risk that's present in the type of road users that we expect. And that's balancing. Yes, we know an arterial road has a lot of traffic and buses and trucks and everything, and whatever we build has to be suitable for all types of traffic, and hence why we had to go back and correct some work that wasn't right. But we also know that vulnerable road users, if we have situations where speed is not controlled at all, and that's possible, then those vulnerable, whether it's the elderly or the very young crossing the road, we are, I guess, designing for the least capable road users to make sure that that speeds are appropriate and that any mistakes made won't be fatal.
Yeah. The other side of the coin, of course, is the fact that as it is a main arterial road, then in terms of the movement through the town, we want the traffic to keep up a certain speed. We don't want to slow it down too much, lest it kind of blogs up the town centre. And I'm just concerned that particularly, we've got a 40 km/h in the town centre, and yet it appears that we're trying to slow down the traffic along that section of the arterial road to an even lower speed of even 30 km/h. Are we not going too far in that regard?
I guess time will tell. We'll see how well it operates. But we know that it's a relatively short length of that road in total, and it is the area where we're going to see a lot of pedestrians and a lot of cyclists crossing the road. So that sort of treatment is not going to happen everywhere on arterial roads. It is going to be very defined locations. And in terms of people's trip or journey time, it might only add a few seconds to their overall trip. So it's quite an efficient and effective mechanism to ensure safety.
Okay.
Thanks. I do have a question now from Phil, which might be related. Is that right, Phil?
Yes, thanks. And just small. So with those speed bumps there, are they a slightly different design, even though they've been modified now? Are they slightly different design to Swain Road, Swain Road by Joe's Garage?
Yep, the principle's the same in that it is a ramp up and then a flat tabletop and then a ramp down. But obviously in a low traffic environment, or where you might just have a zebra crossing instead of traffic signals, you might have slightly steeper ramps that slow the traffic more. But on an arterial road where you have more buses and trucks, then the ramps have to be longer and flatter, so that this more consistent speed can be maintained. Yep.
The ones on Swain Road seem less of an impact. And then the other question is, when the big roundabout there is completed, well, that'll have an underpass there. So you'll have an underpass there plus the traffic lights that are in there currently now where the shops are. Right?
Yes. Yep.
Okay, thanks. Carry on, Brian, with your report.
I would just note also that obviously our new passenger transport bus service has started, and while they're using diesel buses until the electric ones arrive, sort of April, May sort of timeframe, people may have seen a double-decker bus travelling around Cambridge and Kiki recently, and Te Amutu, and that was the bus company and staff trialling it, making sure it fitted through all the streets and under the street trees and things like that, just to make sure there's no surprises when the new buses arrive. In terms of the road safety activity...
Can I just ask a question? The charging station looks as if it's pretty much completed now.
They are near complete. I think there's still some ongoing works there, but I guess it won't be long, and they will be starting to be used by the bus company just with their diesel buses until the electric ones arrive.
Yeah.
Yes.
That's good.
Just note that there in the road safety report that Fonterra came to the Ohaupo School to do a cycle safety around trucks workshop with the students there, which was really well received. And yeah, we certainly are grateful to Fonterra for making that effort to join into the road safety drive. Happy to take any other questions. Otherwise, I'm basically at the end of the report.
Thank you, Brian. Okay, Liz.
Yeah, no, thank you. Just on the new bus timetable that we're going to start to that's going to start soon. I'm just wondering if it's possible for us to really embrace and communicate well with our communities around, you know, the extra services that are going to be here. I still find that a lot of people don't realise that it's about to occur, and I just think the opportunity to get more people on coaches heading, you know, from Leamington into Cambridge or Centre into Hamilton, whatever it is. So just some more visibility around those increased services would be really great.
Yeah, very good.
And I'm just wondering also, just because we've had, I guess, a really wet winter and, you know, been going for it in terms of pavement treatments, road treatments and things, can we please get a list of roads that probably are not going to be completed? I just want to have an understanding of, I can see with the ones that are getting done, but are there any that are in poor condition? Or perhaps it's a list of what will get done so I can, just answer queries myself. In particular, like McGee Road and Kiki, like I get a lot of calls about that one. So I just really keen to know, understand what is going to get done and not going to get done.
Okay. Yeah, no, very good. I guess we've done all the road reconstruction now that we're going to do for the year. Exhausted our budget. There's still resealing to do, but I could give you the list of roads that will be done in the following year. So, and they'll be the ones that are in the worst condition that we're kind of holding until we do. Yeah.
Thank you. Phil, and then Roger.
A couple of things, thank you. A couple of things on your report, but one that's not that you just touched on just then. Waipapa Road, I was travelling back on that yesterday, and for years it's been, I think Graham's been on to you about it, it's been years it's got slippery when it's wet and that sort of stuff. Is that one of the projects that isn't on your list that you're looking to have on your list next year? Or
yeah, I guess after that road did get very slippery and we had temporary signs, speed restrictions and things on there. We did do quite a lot of work on that road. Probably be a good time to invite Paul up to the meeting because he'd actually know more about the condition of it and where it sits in the forward work program. But yeah, we did quite a bit of water cutting and resealing work on it. But it sounds like there might still be some pieces that are a bit flush. Is that right, Paul? Do you know?
Yeah, please come up to the table, Paul. Great to have you there in the seat. Thank you.
Welcome. I wasn't expecting this. Move it, Chairman. So we resealed the problem section of Waipapa Road, 2 years ago, and it's doing okay. It's not any worse than anything else out there. We're keeping a close eye on it because it did deteriorate quite quickly, quite unexpectedly. And yeah, we treated it separately in the wheel tracks and then coated the whole surface.
I'll talk to you about it later, but it's right at our southern end of our boundary at Arahina. But great on your report, great to see Hogan Road being done. That's really great. I think you said it into next week, which will be about a month to have it job done. And just quickly, just real briefly on the Victoria Road roundabout, when's that getting, when is that doing 50% through? Is that we're going to actually be on that roundabout fairly soon, are we? Victoria Road.
Right, so this is the one opposite the cemetery and yes, APL. So I haven't been out there and seen it just lately, but they are homing in on the sort of the home straight of the project. So yes, I could imagine that we'd be driving roundabout within sort of 6 to 8 weeks.
It says the cycleways closed there, that'll be reopened.
Yes.
Thank you. All right, Roger?
Yeah, thank you, Madam Chair. I've asked Paul to stay there because he might also be able to answer this one. But firstly, just to say, Paul, thanks for all your efforts over the years and best of luck with the future, wherever it takes you. Been nice working with you. I know we've had discussions about this before, and that's the stretch of road between the Shakespeare roundabout and the low-level bridge. And that road surface still seems to have deteriorated quite considerably. You say that you've finished most of your road work. Is there ability to do something, or is there the scope to do something with that road? Because it seems to be breaking up that tarmac that's on there.
Yes, so that section of road we dug up about September, patches to see what was happening underneath. We've discovered there's a layer underneath that is acting like paving slabs, so it's breaking up in bits about this big. And they're starting to rot, and the water gets in and then lubricates the joints and makes it worse. Mainly on the downhill lane, and your contractors, Downers, are coming up with a plan to fix the downhill lane and patch the uphill lane, and they are due to report back to us in the next couple of weeks.
Still got money to do that?
No, we haven't got any money left.
We've got maintenance money, but we haven't got renewals money. So we've basically spent our pavement renewals budget, and so we have to make patching type repairs.
Okay, but that will be done.
As long as it fits within our maintenance budget, yes. Yeah, I guess it's been cracked and broken for the last couple of years, and it hasn't. Any parts that have got bad, we've been able to get in and whip it out and replace it, but we don't have money to do, you know, a really big full-on complete replacement of it. And so we'll be making holding repairs until we can do that.
Because that is a heavy traffic road, isn't it? And I mean, it's increasing in traffic volume. So the more traffic you get, the more you're going to increase the level of road damage there. Yeah.
Thank you. Now I've got a question from Bruce, and that might be the last question we can take.
Thanks, Brian. Two questions. The harbour streetscape, that's fantastic. If you look beyond the cones and the barriers, but the guys think, how much does Waipa have to do with that? Do you oversee any of it, or is it Waka Kotahi?
Certainly Waka Kotahi has set the parameters for the traffic management, and we will start to see, as they get that last lot of asphalt in on the left-hand side heading north, we will start to see a lot of those cones and things removed, because the footpaths will be in place, the curbs and the pavement, and then the traffic management will shrink back significantly.
No, it's fantastic. I compliment everyone. And the other thing is, what's the future of Mystery Creek Road? It's in a pretty bad state. Do you give us any update on that?
So that's another one where I guess Sand Quarry Traffic is giving a hammering. So we know that that will need some reconstruction work in the next few years as well. And I imagine that's in the forward work program, you know, a year or two out.
Thank you. Sorry, we've come to our time, and I just wanted to have just a few minutes to wish Paul all the very best, to thank him for all the input that he's had over the years on roading matters. Like, I can remember a lot of the advice that you were giving us on whether it was safety treatments or, you know, like the high level bridge in Victoria Street, you know, that kind of thing. Yeah, so really have appreciated, the level of detail that you've been able to provide elected members, you know, with these issues that we have to grapple with to do with roading. Is there anyone else that would just like to say a few words to Paul? Thank you, Liz.
Yeah, look, Paul, you and I have worked together for a long time, especially when I was out that Karapiro as well. But I just wanted to say thank you for your humour, because I think that you're probably the person that's noted throughout this whole organisation for always having the ability to take a joke, give a joke, but it was a pleasure to to have your sense of humour around the table. So thanks for all the hard work. Wish you well in Otorohanga. You'll be a real asset there.
Thank you. Okay, so with that, we wish you all the very best, and we've just got a recommendation there to receive the report, I think, which I'm trying to get to on page 19. So I've got a mover and a seconder for that. Thank you, Lou, and a seconder. Thank you, Marcus. All in favour, please say aye. Aye. Against, carried. Thank you. And now we have the Cambridge Pathway, Grey Street and Cambridge Middle School scheme plan approval. Welcome, Eric. Over to you. Thank you. Great to see this on our agenda.
Committee. So if I can take my report as read, and I'm happy to answer any queries on that. Thank you.
Okay. Thank you, Roger.
Yes.
And then Phil.
Thanks, Eric. It's good to see this coming into place, isn't it? The last little bit of the puzzle kind of falling in. The only thing I would like assurance of, and we haven't had the opportunity to discuss this in detail at the Urban Mobility, but in terms of the residents of Clare and of Grey Street, have we ensured that we've done full consultation and contacted all of the residents in both streets to make sure that their views have been taken into consideration?
So Roger, we've done a letter drop to every single house affected, and that's for Grey Street from Hamilton Road to just past Williams.
Yep.
And so I guess the greater zone has been consulted, as well as our usual. I think we even had newspaper articles and other messaging on that.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Oh, I think I've had Phil next and then Mike. Yeah. Phil, over
Yeah,
to you.
thank you. And it's a little bit on what Roger just brought up, but just looking at the minutes here from the Urban Mobility, one of the attachments or appendixes, the minutes from Urban Mobility meeting on the 6th of December last year. So it's just getting an understanding. Is the middle school really support? Have you approached the middle school, spoken with them, sat down, spoken to them? Because there's nothing in the report, in the minutes, well, that I can see, stating that the middle school are requesting a cul-de-sac. So I just want to make sure that they have actually been properly notified and discussed and talked to. I know the community board is supportive of it, and I second that recommendation from the community board. But I just want to get a clear understanding that they have actually had good consultation and are right behind it. So.
Yeah. So thanks, Phil. So the answer is yes. We probably had half a dozen meetings over last year with the school. And Appendix 2, the consultation, feedback we've got. So what it was we've got feedback from the Ministry of Education, and that included in their sort of support for the scheme, including the cul-de-sac, and also that included the feedback from the school with the same support. So that's Appendix 2.
You're confident.
Yep.
Confident there.
Yep. And a design process will involve further consultation with the school. Yep.
Thank you.
Okay, so Mike and then Liz.
Thanks a lot through the chair. Thanks, Eric. I just confirmed something just with regards, a resident approached me around, it says traffic calming measures on Clare and Grey Street. And the person just said at the cul-de-sac end of Grey Street is, I think, is 16 houses, this resident said. And there was talk of traffic calming measures in that portion of a street, which he said the residents didn't want, but I can't actually see that in the schematics here that there is actually traffic calming measurements. There isn't, is there?
But, thanks, Mike. No, there's not. So some of the earlier consultation plans did show
Yep.
a race safety platform on the midpoint of that part of Grey Street.
Right.
But we got the feedback, and with us going to the full cul-de-sac, we don't believe it's necessary.
Yeah, no, that's what I thought. I'll go back and confirm that with them. Thank you.
Thanks, and then Liz, hopefully-
Yeah, actually, my question is quite related to that too. I just wanted to check at the end of Grey Street where it will become a permanent cul-de-sac. Is it just the bollards that are going to go in to create the non-vehicle access from then, or are you digging up all those pavers? I was just quite keen to just see minimal disruption, given we've got so much going on already. I'm presuming just bollards are going in and that's it, in terms of the treatment that will be required to make that a full cul-de-sac.
Thanks. So now there will be, those pavers will be uplifted and put into storage, but that's a very simple job. And the crossing point from the current end of Grey Street over the curb into the pavers, we'll cut a section out and put a vertical curb and channel in there. So there will be some work, but it's pretty minor.
Okay. So I guess the reason for that is that there has, I guess, we were an explanation to our community around the fact that those pavers are still relatively new, but I understand the reason why we are going to uplift those, but I want to make sure our community understands the reason. And that's, of course, we were very lucky to receive extra funding. And if those pavers are going to be used for another worthy project, that's great. But just the explanation to the community around why we seem to be lifting things up that are still quite relatively new just might be a good idea.
Yeah, thanks. Yeah, that's fine. So those pavers are the Cambridge CBD special clay pavers. So we've got a stock in Arnold Street of those pavers, and we use them for various projects or repairs. Yeah.
Great, thank you. And so with that, really happy to see this happening. So are you happy to move, Phil? Yeah, thank you. And a seconder, thank you, Liz. All in favour, please say aye. Against, carried. Thank you, and all the best. We hope to hear the successful completion of the project. Thank you. Our next item is the Victoria Bridge repaint and structure maintenance increase in contract sum. Are you going to handle that, Brian?
Yeah, thank you, Madam Chair. This is a relatively straightforward report to increase the contract sum to meet the total or final costs of the work. So I'll take the paper as read and just answer any questions that you have.
Any questions? It does seem to be straightforward. Yes, Phil?
Just thank you. Really briefly, wasn't there a request of several months ago, towards the end of last year, for an increase? What's this one? What's this one?
So that, from memory, if my memory serves me correct, that was for the professional services contract for the Becker's work for our total bridge stock sort of management, but also their efforts in managing this work. It comes from the same budget overall, but it was for the Becker inputs.
Okay, so we've got a mover over Marcus and a seconder, Dale Marie. All in favour, please say aye. Aye. Against, carried. Thank you. Right, and now we're moving into our requests for road closures. So are you handling this too, Brian?
Yes.
Wow, lots of different hats. Okay, so our first one is the Cambridge Cycling Festival. Okay, and the information's there on starting from page 68. And there's, thank you. So Roger's going to move the first one, and the second one is Mike. All in favour, please say aye. Aye.
Madam Chair,
Oh,
if I just make a point that objections closed for all of these road closures for public
yes.
things, and we had no objections come in for any of the closures. So just making that clear.
Yeah, cool. Thank you very much for that. Yeah, I should have put the brakes on a little bit. Okay, so the next one is on page 74, and this is the Waipa Fun Run. And again, these are events that have been held previously. So Phil's going to move that one, and a seconder, Dale Marie. Thank you. All in favour, please say aye. Aye. Against, carried. Thank you. The next item's on page 79. That's the Anzac Day Tuamutu road closure. So this is the one that Lou's going to step back from. Okay, so Andrew's going to move and a seconder. Bruce is going to second. All in favour, please say aye. Against, carried. Thank you. Then we have on page 84 the Anzac Day Cambridge road closure. So Roger's going to move that and Phil's going to second that.
Just a-
All in favour, please say aye.
Quick little.
Oh, sorry. Yes.
Quick little question,
Yeah.
if I may. So just with that one and the cycling is, they're on the same day, on the 25th, aren't they, on Anzac Day? Do you tie it in together? Is there a little bit of a cost savings or just out of curiosity?
I think they're quite different activities, but there
Yeah.
would be some minor cost saving, yes, as a result. Control of parking and things like that.
Okay, thank you. So our next item's on page 89, which is the New Zealand Age Group Road Cycling Championships. Move of like Liz is going to, oh no, you've got a conflict. I know.
Oh, no, not really a conflict. I just have a question.
Question, okay.
Yeah, I just wanted to check, this road, Lamb Street, is obviously quite a major, well, it's an arterial road for events out at Lake Karapiro. And I see absolutely nothing wrong with this event and this, this closure, but I have a little concern around major events at Karapiro and if there's a kind of a road closure for event traffic trying to get through for both events actually. And this particular one coincides with the New Zealand Canoe Racing Championships. So what I'd like to just add into the mix with your team is perhaps just to consider what events might be on the same weekends going forward. No problem with this one, but if it was Māori Cup or another big event, I think we would have some other issues, probably for this event and for the other one. So just thought that this would be something to raise.
Thank you. We'll certainly keep that in mind.
Yeah.
Yep.
Excellent point. Thank you, Liz. So with that, do I have a move in it and a seconder? Thank you, Mike, and the seconder, Dale Marie. Thank you. All in favour, please say aye. Against, carried. Then on page 94, it's the Kairangi Loop Bent Sprint 2024. A mover and seconder for that. Lou's going to move that and Andrew's going to second. Oh, sorry. Yes, all right. A question from Roger.
And I noticed that there's quite a few side roads that cannot access the closed road loop. Just the assurance that the residents on those roads have been consulted about that.
Yep, absolutely. They, the event organisers do every year consult all the people because this is an activity that happens every year. They're quite used to it. They're familiar. They've got to know the locals, and it seems to, as I say, there's no objections to this because people are very familiar with it and are happy. Yep.
Okay, so I had Lou moved it and Andrew second. All in favour, please say aye. Against, carried. Thank you. And then on page 99, we have the Head Road and Stokes Road Rally 2024. Mover and a seconder for that. Thank you. Marcus is going to move and a seconder. Thank you, Lou. All in favour, please say aye. Against, carried. Thank you. And then the last one, which is the Emergency Response Open Day. A mover and a seconder for that. Okay, all right. So Lou's going to move and Dale Marie is going to second. All in favour, please say aye. Against, carried. Thank you, everyone. So that brings us to the end of the transportation section. Thank you, Brian. Really appreciate you leading us all through that. Thank you. Now, the next item is the Community Services Activity Report. So I'd like to invite, I'm hoping, Brad. Welcome, Brad. And congratulations on your work anniversary. I see 5 years with Waipa. Wow, where did the time go? Yeah.
I say time flies when you're having fun, right?
Okay, so I'm over to you with your report. Thank you.
Kia ora, thank you. Ngā mihi o te ata tātou. I'll just take you through just a few interesting highlights or points of my report, and then I'll take some questions after that. In October, we opened up a new playground in Te Cam Drive in Cambridge North. This has been a good example of developers working alongside staff to bring together something for the community, with them doing the majority of the works there.
Oh,
Was that the one where we had some damage?
That's correct. That's correct. I was about to come to that. Yeah. I was going to say, unfortunately, we did receive some vandalism soon after it was opened, but we're hoping with the increase in housing that's going in around the area, it will increase the passive surveillance, and we'll hopefully see a reduction in that. While we're on playgrounds, just not in the quarter, but just yesterday we had a karakia on site with Ngāti Apakura for the commencement of the project at Te Amuru War Memorial Park. So that renewal project is underway now as well, and there'll be people on site there from now for the next few months.
So just on that, so when is the new playground going to be, ready to be played on for there?
I think May is when we're just a two or three month construction period. Yeah.
Thank you.
And we've also now installed cameras at Bulmer's Landing and Pukimako. There's still a few just teething issues as we work with the solar panels there and the connection, but they are in place and functioning. As a result, we've now stopped the security guards going up there on selected days to lock up, well, not to lock up, but to close that gate. Also, in light of that security project, the wider project we had, where we put bollards in around some of those key areas, including Pukimako and Gaslight Theatre, we've seen a really good result from that, and far less vandalism of people getting onto those reserves and ripping them up. So that's been a good success. Unfortunately, over the Christmas period at Bulmer's Landing, we did still have some very persistent people who actually removed some retaining walls so they could get their full drives up and around the work that we had done. So if there's a will, there seems to be a way still, unfortunately. But we are seeing a vast improvement in some of those areas. Our libraries continue to see a really good increase in their usage. Especially, in fact, it's been a great start to 2024. In fact, with Cambridge seeing a close to $4,500 increase in issue numbers compared to last January alone, and TA had an increase of just shy of 1,000. So over the year to date, our libraries, including the use of e-items, has seen an increase of 17,305 items on last year. So that's a great result as well. And our museum team, last year they got the Waipa Heritage Forum back up and running, which has been in limbo for some time now. It's with COVID and then the relocation out of Rose Street. The forum is a collection of representatives from, largely operational representatives from the Cambridge Museum, Kiki Police House, and the Parongia Heritage Centre, as well as our staff. And so the forum allows the different providers to share ideas, connect, and offer those different ideas to each other, support, and then also link in how we can better deliver heritage in the Waipa region collectively for our community and also our visitors. So those are some very quick points or highlights out of my report, but I'm happy to take any further questions.
Thank you, Brad. Any other questions? I've got Lou and then Phil and then Susan.
Yeah, thank you. Congratulations, Brad, for 5 years here. Well done. Just quickly, at the Te Amutu Cemetery, the RSA section, we're going to be removing the flagpole in the near future, taking it down, getting it sandblasted. So please tell your staff it hasn't been stolen. We're taking it away and repairing it and painting it and planting the plinth. So in conjunction with the man shed. So just to make you aware of that. And the second point I'd like to raise is I wanted to thank your staff so much for their support over the damage that was done at Memorial Park. Without their support, we wouldn't have had the media and the public agenda put in front of everybody that how all that hedge was pulled out all around our sunken cross. So it ran, and all of the other damage that has been done in there. So I wanted to thank them very much for that effort.
Good, thanks, Lou.
Thank you. Now I've got Phil, Susan, and then Roger.
Yeah, thank you. Thanks, Brad. Couple of questions. So cemeteries is a real issue with cemeteries. I think one particularly in Hautapu with damage and what have you, which is just really disgraceful. Disgraceful anyway, whatever damage, but it's a cemetery. And there's a view out there with some community members that the security guards aren't doing their job and things like that. yeah, what's your view on that? What can you report on that?
Yeah, thank you. I am aware of some of those conversations in the community. Our security guards, for the large part, are going out to those sites, potentially not in the same timing that the community patrol and others see. The security contract that we have, they cover the whole district, so they do have hotspots that they lock up first before getting around to each of the sites. So if there is an instance where it appears that it's open, where we're very happy for people to let us know about that, and we can follow that with the security firm. Generally, I think the security guards still are getting there, but it might be sort of 10, 30, 11 o'clock before they get to site with the other program they've got on around the place.
Again, thank you, but again, from the community, that they're saying there's no real consistency with the security guards being out there. They're out there sometimes, but not all the time, sort of thing, or when they're supposed to be there, so the contract.
Now we've looked into their GPS. We can get access to their GPS, which identifies when they've been out on site. So we're pretty comfortable as it currently lies with all the follow-up that we have done, that they are attending.
And I think, yeah, just lastly, the thing on how tap is that the offenders can easily get on the expressway and get out of there. So, okay. And then the last one is just on the sports leases and model and everything. What couple of things there? What evidence have you got from other councils that it's become more efficient when councils have managed it? It's become better run or more efficient and worked in with stakeholders and clubs and things like that. What evidence have you got there?
Yeah, so we presented that report to council previously, so that's all available for you to look into. We have presented that previously, and there is some good evidence there that does suggest that and recommended that it does have efficiencies, and working with the clubs to better bring more people into their clubs, as well as provide the services instead of the clubs.
And just a quick comment, last comment on that is, I mean, will it end up, well, again, I'll have another look at the report. Will it end up costing us more money to take over the management of it? And if it did, is that good timing while we're short budgeting and
yeah, so Councillor
funding
Coles,
and all that sort of stuff?
I suggest going back and look at the report, because we did suggest that we're not going to actually progress that for the next few years. We're going to pick that up again in the later LTPs. So yeah, as it currently lies, we considering having a staff member come on board to work with clubs to work to an eventual implementation of that program, but that's still far beyond this next LTP.
Yeah, because it does say on here, in your report now, work will continue in the space this year.
Yeah, so we'll continue to work alongside clubs, because we've started this corridor with them. We don't want to drop that. We want to stay working alongside them and continue, even from our discussions, whether or not we do move to that program into the future, we still want to be closer to our club than we have been previously. So that's what I mean by want to continue to work alongside them to make sure that we continue to try and achieve benefits with them.
I'll go back onto archives of this committee meeting on the 5th of December and have a look. Thanks.
Yeah, there was quite a comprehensive report there, Phil, and it'd be good, to just make sure you're familiar with it. Yeah, I think.
Can I just follow that? Because
Oh.
it's exactly the same point. And it sparked me as well, this, because the resolution from 5 December was that we agreed to continue to explore was the language. And I was pretty happy with that. You've slightly hardened the language here. So I actually think it's a fair point. There was a level of comfort to continue exploring the idea. This kind of sounds, the way you've written it is a little more, and I went, I'm not sure we agreed to that.
Right. Without going into the report here, but yeah, it's definitely sort of continue exploring, working alongside. Yeah.
Okay, cool. Thank you. And now I've got Susan and then Roger.
Thank you, Madam Chair. Hey, Brad. Hey, just three questions. First one, I see you've given us a bit of an update on the optioneering. It's a new word for me. In respect of the Kihikihi and Pirongia skate parks, what happens next? Where are we now? I accept that we're optioneering, but where are we actually at in terms of finding locations for the Kihikihi and Pirongia skate parks? That's my first question. Second question relates to Te Arawai journeys. And then the last one is about the Cambridge library, but if you can just ask, let me have some greater understanding about where we're at with those skate parks, that would be helpful.
Yes, certainly. So with Pirongia site, we've now landed on that site, which is on Franklin Road, immediately adjacent to the sports and rugby club there. And we had a consultation day with the community, or I can't remember, might be in the report there, early end of last year. So the next steps for that are for us to start forming up a basic concept design with the community group there to understand what they want to see in it. And then from there, there'll be once that's done, the community will need to go away and complete the fundraising that they was, from the last LTP that they signaled they would do. So that's where that's sitting currently. Where the key situation is at the moment, there's a site of interest that we are working with. It's affected by some other projects as well. So just in terms of working with council, working with Mania Poto Kitaraki on that in particular, just to understand, the tikanga and the approach going forward on that site for the next little while.
Lovely, thank you for that. The second question I have is in respect of, you provided us here with data from Te Arawai Journeys, which is great. It's good to see it's has the uplift, but I wonder if you have any more refined data than that, because I'm just sort of mindful of, and it's not specific necessarily to Te Arawai, but I think sometimes just clicks is often not particularly informative in terms of impact and value. So is that the only, what I'm trying to ask is that the only way we're able to measure engagement with that app, or do we have more refined data that can say, on average, the viewers stayed on, 10, 15, 20 minutes, because that's kind of more informative than just numbers of blank users?
Thank you. I understand where you're going with that. I don't have the answer for you right now, but I'll go away and see what we can use to create a bit more of a picture on that Te Arawai Journeys.
Cool, because I think it's more meaningful, paints a more comprehensive picture about people's engagement with a lot of these things. Otherwise, it just clicks a one-dimensional thing. It's on anything, interestingly, you look at the library user data, actually collecting data around card use gives quite a different lens. So not just counting bodies coming in the door. So, sometimes you have to dig down a little deeper behind the next level of inquiry to paint a clearer picture. So yeah, thanks for that. It would really, really interesting to see. And my last question relates to the draft feasibility report undertaken in respect of the Cambridge Library. Do you know when we're going to be able to see that at all?
So I think it might be this week actually, we've got our sort of final project team meeting on it, just to go through what Power have provided us as a final. So we going to be going through it to get together as a team, and then we anticipate bringing that back sort of an information sharing format to this group.
Okay, because I've sort of been promised that we'd see it for quite some time now, but that's okay. If it's still coming, it's coming. Great.
It was always signaled to come back in come be finalised in February.
Yeah. Okay, cool. Thanks very much, Brad. Great work.
Thank you. I've got Roger and then Mike.
Yeah, thank you, Madam Chair. Thanks, Brad. Going back to museums and heritage, a major opening of the Cambridge Museum, and the fact that the earthquake work has been completed, so that museum is now back and opening, and the new display is being officially opened on Friday. I'm just a little bit surprised that there was no mention of that in your report, because I would have thought that that was something to actually report on, even though we don't manage that museum, it's still part of our heritage listing.
Yeah, that's a fair point, Roger. I apologise that wasn't included.
Thanks for the cheers, Brad. A couple of one's a comment really. Just the Cambridge Racquet Club, that public tennis court there. I remember back in the day, the folks there were asking for it to be sort of revamped, and I think we did a bit of work around the fences and that sort of thing. So I see that being actively used. So it's really good. How many public courts do we have over in Cambridge? Is that it, or is there others?
Off the top of my head, I believe that's the only court we've got. So the club own or manage the other ones, and we've just got the one court there.
Yeah, no, that's I thought that. Hey, and the other one was just tell us around on that page 3 of your report there. Conversations have begun with Ngāti Korohi Kahikura and Ngāti Hoa regarding the design and implementation of the Waharoa, the gateway, at Albert Park entrance to Lake Tukutu. Just tell us a little bit more about that and any timeframes around from design to actual install sort of thing, or how that's looking.
Yeah, Kara, thanks, Mike. That is part of the concept plan implementation. So that was signal that we'd be undertaking that work. So I'm not sure exactly where the design is sitting at the moment in terms of its progress through that phase. But we do have funding in the next financial year to do that. But obviously that will be considered as part of the 2004 to 34 LTP program of works as we confirm that up.
All right, thanks for that.
Okay, now I've got another question, this time from Dale.
I just have a comment. Thank you for your report, Brad. And I picked up where it said the staff were working on their rostered days off over Christmas. So please mahi to them for the extra that they've gone above and beyond throughout the holidays. So tēnā koe.
Kia ora, thanks, Dale.
Thank you. So no more questions. So now I'd like to receive the report. So a mover and a seconder. So Liz is going to move and Mike's going to second. All in favour, please say aye. Aye. Against, carried. Thank you, Brad. Pleased to have that. And now we're going to move to the final Leamington Domain Master Plan. So we've got a few changes to this as well. Welcome, Bonnie. Lovely to see you here, and great agenda item. I'm just getting some guidance from Joe about how to handle this, because I think you said there were some changes to the resolution. So we'll do that after Bonnie's presented. Yeah, cool, excellent. Okay, so over to you, Bonnie.
I never get that right. Yeah, so just seeking adoption of the final plan with changes. So I'd just like to acknowledge the correction of section 5. So apologies for that. So as you're aware, this plan seeks to create a cohesive long-term vision for Leamington Domain following some LTP submissions. I'd just like to say a big thank you to the people that helped us with this plan, Beth Todo of Ngāti Korohi Kaukura and Anna and Liz from Exist Limited. Thank you very much for your help on this. Also to our lessees and stakeholders, some of whom met with us multiple times, so really just appreciate their help on this plan. So yeah, I'll pass over to Anna, who should be online.
Yes, welcome, Anna. I wasn't sure, yeah, you joined us as Bonnie came to the table, so lovely to have you joining us today. Yes, and over to you, thanks.
Morena koutou, thank you for that warm welcome, Madam Chair. I also just want to say it's been great working with the Parks team and Council's communications team. They went to great extents to try and connect with the community and hear from the community on the draft plan. We received 55 submissions on the draft plan and also had other feedback through a series of meetings and the open day. That feedback is summarised for you in Appendix 2. There was really good levels of support for the principles and many aspects of the layout, particularly the play enhancements, the improvements to access and circulation, and the development of the multi-purpose building. Some of the key submission themes were a desire to see the natural character and amenity retained, and the Cambridge Model Engineering Society, that's the big trains, I'll talk about the big trains and the small trains or the little trains. Everyone was very keen to see them being supported to continue to be able to run their activity. There was some concern from a number of the residents on Scott Street about the proposal to move a number of the assets and activities over closer to their properties. So following that submission period, we met with the Scott Street submitters to better understand their concerns and discuss some of the design responses to their concerns. We also met several times with the Cambridge Model Engineering Society and had communication with them to discuss their concerns and look through refinements to the plan that would enable them to operate their train activity safely and effectively and efficiently, knowing that they've got a limited number of volunteers part of that group. We really appreciated their approach to those discussions and think that we've arrived at a solution which they can see working really well, being an improvement potentially to some of the way that they're operating over in the Steaming Bay area, which also enables the other developments on the domain to occur. I would note that they they obviously still have concerns about how that's going to be funded in the future, and noting their small volunteer pace to do that. So key changes to the plan are set out for you in Appendix 2, the text changes, and then in Appendix 1, you'll see a map that shows the key changes to the actual layout. Just quickly, I guess I'll point out there's some changes to the layout for the Model Engineering Society, like I said. So some of that's around what we call it, the southeast corner and the infrastructure there. And also just setting out the path that adjoins the railway line a greater distance apart to ensure that there's no safety risk, particularly with cycles going and using that track. We have proposed to move the toilet block up to Wordsworth Street, and there's a resulting small change to the picnic area there. I'd also just note, I guess there's some changes to the parking on Scott Street, and also some actions to work with the transport team when they do the upgrade of Wordsworth Street and also Scott Street to enable better pedestrian connectivity through to the domain, and also some additional seating and cycle racks in response to submission points. So Appendix 3 contains the draft plan that we're recommending with those changes in it. And I just also note we received a lot of great feedback about the playground and what play features people are keen to see included, and that's all been passed on to the designers who are working on that playground development plan at the moment. So apologies for the formatting error that's occurred with the master plan priorities section 5. I understand the new plan's been tabled, so you can see there the correct short, medium and long-term actions that we're recommending. This prioritisation has been based on existing program work with the playground renewal and upgrade project, an asset condition assessment, public feedback, some knowledge of likely costs and budget constraints, and also what makes sense, logical sense in terms of staging requirements. But at a high level, what we're proposing is we focus first on the northwest corner. So we've got the playground lined up with funding there to renew that. So doing most of the works in that northwest corner at the same time, and bringing the path right down through to where the small trains building is, the old bowling club building. In the medium term, we'd be looking to complete the path connections, developing a learn to ride facility and the fitness stations. And then in the long term, the focus will be on those more significant assets. So creating the multi-use building, the courts, and the changes to the big trains infrastructure that's required to have that movement of those buildings. So it's a guide only, important we thought to capture in the document, and that will be brought up and tested with you through your LTP processes. So that's everything from me. Very happy to answer any questions. We've also got Beth online if you've got any questions that you'd like Beth to respond to. Kia ora.
Thank you, Anna. You've covered everything really comprehensively. Do I have any questions? Yes, I've got Phil.
Just a quick question, comment. The steamroller that's staying put, that's the most important thing to the whole community, I think. There's been talked about that for years and years and years when it was going to be moved, that were taken away completely a few years ago. So it's staying, so it's great.
Right, you're happy,
love
Phil.
that.
Thank you. Oh, and then I've got Liz.
Yeah, hey, look, I just wanted to say congratulations on a really great effort in terms of engaging the community. It feels like only last month that we were all there at Leamington Domain. I think we were handing out ice creams as a lure, but this is a great example of how to do public consultation well. And Anna and the rest of the team, Beth, thank you for your, for all your help. And what is a very loved playground and reserve, and there's a lot of with massive use always at Leamington Domain. So really, really wrapped with the outcome here and great design. So thanks for everybody, to all those involved, and I'm happy to move it.
Thank you, Liz. So before we go to the moving part of it, I think Joe's going to put up on the screen the amended resolution. Is that correct, Joe?
I am.
Just so we get it right. Yeah.
Wrong one.
Are you going to take us through the changes, Joe, or it's pretty, I mean, it is self-explanatory.
Yes,
isn't it?
well, we just wanted to make sure that we amended the recommendation to make sure we incorporated that updated section 5 that you've received, and we also wanted to add in at the same time just to note that you have received and considered the written feedback, and then go on to adopt the draft Leamington Domain Master Plan. Just with giving, because all the changes are incorporated into Appendix 3 as they stand, we've just left final typographical and minor amendments to the Group Manager, Customer and Community Services to amend. Any questions about those changes?
Okay, so that looks straightforward. So with that, I've got Liz moving it and Phil seconding. You happy with those amended? Yeah. So with that, all in favour, please say aye. Aye. Against, carried. Excellent. And yeah, congratulations again. It's wonderful to see this project getting to this milestone. Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Okay, so our next item is on page 187, which is a request for new road names. So I've got a new person, is it Harry Baxter? I mean, welcome, Harry. I don't think we've seen you here before. So want to make a warm welcome to you, and lead us through your report to do with the new road names. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Madam Chair.
Oh yeah, that's right. Press that button so that the green light shows.
Trick for new players. I'll take the report as read, and just before I open for questions, I'll give an update on the C2 growth cell development name, the Don Gerrin Drive, because there's been sort of a hooey with NKK, Ngāti Koroki Kahukura. So they've a member of there has shown support for the name Don Gerrin Drive. It also went to an iwi consultation meeting last week, and we haven't yet had an update regarding that. And also the Shaw family, because the road intersects Hugo Shaw Drive. So we've had some correspondence that's confirmed that they're acceptable of that intersection between those two roads.
I'd just like to stop you there, Harry, because I think I've got...
No, carry on.
Okay, no, carry on, and I'll let Liz have a word at the end.
And that's all.
Oh, okay. Oh, yeah, I hope I didn't cut you short. Anyway, Liz, have you got a comment?
Yeah, look, thank you. Yeah, I just have a comment because, of course, as a growth council, we have the important job of naming, of course, any new roads that come into our district, and it's not all towns get to do that very often. But I just want to make comment on the Don Gerrin Drive, because every now and again, a person comes along that's just so worthy because of their community service to have a road named after them. And in this particular case, you know, his commitment and service to the Cambridge Fire Brigade as chief for many, many years, over 50 years, was, this is just such a worthy opportunity to honour a great man. And I reflect back to his funeral, where we literally had the whole town come and pay homage to not only him, but his family, the commitment and the service that they provided as well. So really supportive to see this happen. I've been on the bandwagon for a wee while on this one. So this is a really special moment actually for the family to honour somebody. So yeah, just want to support the recommendation and happy to move it.
That's wonderful. Really appreciate you saying those words, Liz. Thank you. So, all right, so Phil's got a second. All right, so all in favour, please say aye. Aye. Against, carried. Thank you. Thank you, Harry. Hope we see you again. Cool. And now we're going to do the resolution to exclude the public. So I kind of move and seconded for that. So I've got Andrew's going to move and seconder, please. Thank you, Liz. All in favour, please say aye. Aye. Against, carried. Thank you. And now we'll have our morning tea break, if that's okay.